Happy Sunday. Make sure my mic is working right. Hold on. Let me see here. We've been having some issues lately. Had some issues with the last show. So sound, audio, we do cracking. Default test. Yep, that's working. I am having some issues with StreamYard. Oh, there we go. Yep. StreamYard broadcasting is not putting out the message. So some of you are not going to get, and I started early, but some of you are not going to get the little thingy until like 10, 15 minutes later. So I wish there was a way to fix that. Let's see, chats. I still haven't got the notification myself, and it's my show. So hey, you doing, man? Yeah, I'm just going through some stream yard issues as far as the notifications goes. It's sending out some to some people, not to others. I've been having this issue with the later shows. Sometimes I guess if it's after 10 o'clock, it just doesn't send a notification. So a lot of people, and I've been getting emails and messages about people missing the lives because they never got the notification. So trying to figure that out. But I'm also in the last phases of using StreamYards like for our show to begin with. Right now, I'm working with Streamlabs OBS, and as soon as I get was versed into that and everything uploaded to that, I'm going to start using that because it has a lot more interactive features, and I can use my Stream Deck with it. So, gonna see if I can get that fixed. But right now, like I said, I have yet to get the notification that the show is on the air right now. And you think I would get it like soon, but it's not. Not hitting it. So for those of you who are going to watch the show later on, since this is an open mic, the StreamYards didn't send out the notifications. I'm still waiting for it. So basically, this is a show, semi-overnighter on Sunday. It's pretty much based on your questions and things like that. So like I said, we're 6 minutes into the show, and I've yet to get my notification that we're live. So I'm going to see if I can fix something here. We're definitely live. Definitely live. Okay, I just got the Facebook notification that we are live. All right. What's going on? Hey, Fourth, when did you get the notification? I'm trying to fix something on StreamYards. Did you get it right away, or did you just get it, or did you just happen upon me? Because, like I said, I'm having some serious issues. The other night, it was 18 minutes into the show before I got a notification. I'm like, dude, I got like 12 more minutes of the show left, and I'm just not getting the Facebook notification or the YouTube notification. And I even switched over to the centers, to my own thing to see if I could broadcast it from there, and still the notifications didn't come out, and so a lot of people were tuning into the show as I was signing off. Okay, seen it 20 minutes ago, but had to look for it. Yeah, now it gives you the schedule. It gives me the Sci-Fi Center just scheduled an event, that one. But when I actually go live, when I hit the broadcast button, it's supposed to immediately send everybody who's waiting or everybody who's on. How you doing, Jacob? Everybody who's on a notification saying the Sci-Fi Center is now live, and I'm just not getting that. And I know I've heard from a lot of people that are not getting it, so it's kind of weird. I'm wondering, like I said, I hope it's not a YouTube thing because we're about to switch over to OBS. Like I said, once I have gotten out of OBS kindergarten, I'm going to use that because I really like the integration, and there's just a lot more you can do with it. StreamYards has got me far a year and a half into my YouTube adventure, but now I think it's time for me to stop crawling and start walking. So All right, but yeah, this is the Sunday show. Not too much going on. I think we didn't talk about yesterday with the overnighter. Um, 1 week ago today, I had already gotten back from San Diego, and right now, this time last week, I was watching Oppenheimer. I was in actually the first hour because I went to the 10 o'clock showing. Okay, so I'm not alone. So is it a YouTube thing or is it a StreamYard thing? Because if it's a StreamYard thing, I'm gonna solve that. Anyway. If it's a YouTube thing, there's really nothing I can do because that's the platform I'm broadcasting on. I'm sorry, I'm drinking because it's super hot. It's gonna be 95 degrees on Tuesday. Woohoo! All right. William Thoughton, Avon Driver, is reportedly not interested in playing Reed Richards in Fantastic Four, and passed on the role early on. He couldn't connect with the character. That's I can respect that. I can respect that. Adam Driver is an Academy Award nominated actor. He's top tier in my opinion. You know, you when you get to the level that he is at, I think you have to take the roles that that you connect with. And if you damn, that went down the wrong way. Hold on. And if you can't connect with the IP, that's a commitment. You commit to an MCU movie like that, especially the Fantastic Four. You're probably talking about 3 or 4 movies, just Fantastic Four alone. And as Reed Richards, you're probably going to be in a ton more movies. So if you don't connect with the IP, I respect him coming to that conclusion now instead of being casted and having and being miserable. So kudos to him. All right. You hear this rumor James Wan wants to sue over having to do reshoots for Aquaman. I hear it's not true. Now, I don't. I heard that, but I don't think it's true because reshoots are actually part of your contract. In the Marvel and DC, I think for the most part, and a lot of these franchises they budget and they schedule for a reshoot. So when you sign a contract as an actor or as a director, I'm pretty sure that reshoots are part of the contract. So there would be nothing to sue over. So yeah, I heard those rumors, and I don't think they are. I don't think they're true. How you doing, Daniel? What's going on? All right, William. What do you David Ayers shows his support along with Zack Snyder? These are all directors. These people are all friends. They work together. They have mutual respect for each other. There's no reason, and with Zack Snyder made that tweet about Blue Beetle, everybody took it as a shock that this is Zack Snyder likes superhero movies. He's a superhero movie fan. So I mean, and David Ayer is a director who directed. These guys are comrades. They've all directed and are all been involved in Superman, or not Superman, but superhero movies. So they all know what each other is going through. So it's a mutual respect thing. Um, and when he tweeted, representation is very important. It is important. I don't think Blue Beetle is going to bomb like they're projecting. I don't think it's going to make a lot of money, but I don't know if it's going to bomb. I think there's enough of us out there. But then again, while I say that, I don't have any plans on going to see it in the movie as of yet. When they first announced Blue Beetle and they said it was going to be on HBO Max, that's where I committed to seeing it. Everything I've seen from the trailers, I mean, they look okay, but it looks like an HBO Max show. It looks like something like that I already pretty much been paying for already. So, and I'm kind of like that to the point where I don't, if you listen to my show, or anything I've been on, I'm not a big fan of Z-listers without the support of A-listers. And the Blue Beetle is a Z-lister. Shazam's a Z-lister. And I think not only is this my opinion, but I think that it hurts the overall product when you put these lower tier characters out there without the support of the major characters. And to me, Blue Beetle is just another one of those things that, really should have never been made. Same thing with Shazam, same thing with Black Adam. Should not have been made before we had our main framework characters established, so when we put these movies out, like Blue Beetle, the reason why a lot of these movies are struggling is because the whole thing has been mismanaged and put out of order. So I will be watching Blue Beetle either on this computer screen that I'm staring at right now or on my big screen, at the store. So, but like I said, I don't have any plans. I have as much plans to go see Blue Beetle as I do Barbie at this point. Blue Beetle probably has a better shot because I'm probably never going to see Barbie. Jacob Williams thought of Barbie has earned $773 million at the worldwide box office. It's now the third highest grossing film of 2023, Fast and Fast X. I think it's going to continue to climb. Like I said, it's going to do it without my little chunk of change, but it's a internationally known IP. It's Barbie, and it's never been done before like this. So there's no conflict. There's no nothing. You can just go to this movie. And Barbie is a brand name that is literally 6 decades old. So I fully expected Barbie to do well. But on Andrew Garfield and what his Spider-Man future looks like, the story never ends. Whether we film it or not, there's a story happening in the universe somewhere. That's his way of saying maybe, in my opinion. Yeah, and he's still relative. He's kept himself in good shape for 40. He looks great. I think he can still play Peter Parker. I would like to see one last movie with him, personally, but who knows? Daniel Martin, do you think we'll see anything marketing wise like this Barbie Oppenheimer thing again? Counter programming used to do well, but I'm not sure they can duplicate. I don't know because it took it. I think the reason why the Barbenheimer thing worked is because it was two drastically different things being released on the same day. I mean, you couldn't get more contrast in these two movies. You have one movie that's about a doll, or about a doll and living in a literally a doll world in an imaginary, make believe, over exaggerated world that is not supposed to be taken seriously. And then you have Oppenheimer, which is literally a couple of steps away from a horror movie when you think of the horrors of the nuclear age, what those bombs did, the kind of environment and fear that we've lived over in the 7+ decades, nearly 8 decades since we've dropped 2 of them. The visuals that he put forth in this movie, so you could not get to either ends of the spectrum as you could with these movies. I think I'm not looking for it to happen again, but I think if you had 2 movies that were this different, I think the fact that the contrast helped it out. I don't know though, but I mean, I just think this was it was a perfect storm, proper, perfect time, perfect place. You'd have to have all that lined up again. And I don't know if there's any movies out there that could, but now that we've done it this one time, people are going to be looking to try to manufacture it. But I think that the thing that, worked so well with it is that for the most part, other than the name itself, it wasn't really manufactured. It was 2 movies being released on the same day, and then we went with it. People ran with it from there. So I don't know. I mean, I think there might be, but I don't know if it'll be to this level. William, it's crazy that both Barbenheimer movies had historically low second weekend drops. Barbie 93%, Oppenheimer 46%. Once again, and I think the phenomenon is what carried it through, which is fine. You know what? Whatever gets people to the theaters. I don't think Oppenheimer had a chance of making good money like this. I thought it was going to do decent. It was a cheap movie to make. I didn't think it would reach where it has reached, but I think the Barbie thing helped it, and that's good because when it comes to a movie like this level, you want a lot of people to see it. It's going to win good awards, but now it has the award season to look forward to, and it's made its money. I wish there would have been something out there for Blade Runner or Blade Runner 2049 that could have helped those movies out. But and like I said, when it comes to Oppenheimer, after some long thought over the weeks since I've seen it, I like Oppenheimer. I like it a lot. I think it's one of my favorite movies of this year. It's one of my. I don't have very many favorite Nolan movies, but I don't think it's better than Dunkirk. To me, Dunkirk is slightly better than Oppenheimer, but that's not a knock against Oppenheimer. They're both. I thought Dunkirk should have won Best Movie that year. And I actually thought Nolan should have won that Best Director that year. His body of work doesn't do much for me, but Dunkirk was an amazing movie. I watched that on a regular basis. And Oppenheimer, like I said, while it's spectacular and it's great on a different level, I just like Dunkirk slightly better. But Oppenheimer's great. And like I said, the visualizations that he uses to get his point across, he used the sex scene to drive home a point. You don't see Nolan do that often. You don't see Nolan do that ever. but you don't see a lot of directors doing that. And he went places with Oppenheimer that he just didn't go in his other movies. He just everything that he's tried in his other movies that just didn't work for me, it all came together in in this movie. So that's not why I like it. And even as a non-Nolan groupie, I liked Oppenheimer. Resident Justice, do you think Zach Publicky coming out to support Blue Beetle is a good sign towards a repair relationship between him and WB? Given he did not promote the Flash earlier this year? No. I just think he's supporting another director or supporting another superhero movie. I think that I don't think the relationship with Warner Brothers is monolithically bad. I think there were certain individuals, obviously that he had issues with. And most of them are gone, but I don't know what his relationship is with Zaslav. I know him and Gunn have supported each other in the past. Maybe I don't know. Maybe the fingerprints on the Flash were still from an era that he had a lot of problems with. I don't know, and I just don't know what goes on behind closed doors when it comes to these contemporaries. I mean, I don't think it means much either way. I think I don't think he has a bad relationship with David Sandberg. I don't even who did the Shazam movies. I know he has a good relationship with David Ayer. I mean, I don't know what his relationships are with directors. From what I've heard, he has a good working relationship with just about everybody. And I don't recall him necessarily not supporting the Flash. I can't remember because I didn't follow every tweet that came out about that, but I thought he supported the Flash, but then again, like I said, I don't remember either way. But no, I think this is just him supporting another director, and I think that the relationship with DC Films right now probably would be the best that it's been because a lot of the people he had issues with are flushed out. But no, I don't know RJ either way because, like I said, I'm just not on the inside. I just think he's supporting another superhero movie. William, are you still sitting out for Blue Beetle or Game Time Decision? Right now, I'm sitting out. And it's not a knock against necessarily whether I think Blue Beetle is going to be a good movie or not. It's just that this wasn't on my menu. I didn't from the moment that this movie was announced, I just didn't care about it. I didn't put it on a priority list. And I remember what I said. I'm getting Blue Beetle. I haven't seen the Big Red S on the screen in almost 6 years now. I haven't seen the Batman that I was waiting to see for even longer now. But you gave me this movie. So it's like I just didn't have any interest in it at that point. Now we will be, promoting this movie, but not every movie that I promoted I've gone and seen or even liked. So as of now, July 30th, it's still an HBO Max, or Max, I'm sorry, exclusive for me. But like I said, I'm open to seeing another trailer. If I have to do a screening where there's 50 plus people, then I usually am obligated to be there because I don't want to leave that up to the studio staff and the theater staff and the intermediate staff. If I'm bringing that many people, I feel obligated to be there. In which case, then I will see it. But on my own, as an elective, no, I'm still planning on seeing a Blue Beetle on my computer screen or maybe at my movie screen at the store when it hits specs. William, did you Talk to Me debuts with 10 million domestic box office over double initial industry projections? The second biggest opening for A24 after Hereditary. A24 is on a roll right now. So I did not see that news because I've been out all day, but A24 puts out quality stuff. I mean, hell, they got an Academy Award this year. And they're very frugal with their movies. Everything all at once didn't cost a lot of money to make, but they got a lot of mileage of it. So congratulations to them. William, you ever consider Apple TV for its sci-fi movies? Yes, I'm just behind. I know Foundation's on Apple. I have Apple. I have Apple TV. I have the access, because I got it for baseball and everything else. Yes, I have. I just have not got around to watching them. I need to watch Foundation though. They got 2 or 3 new ones that look top notch. Always, in ways most other streamers do. And you know what? Another one that's going to follow them is Amazon. Like I say, Amazon's putting a lot into sci-fi too. So, but yes, Fort, I have Apple TV. I just have to get around to watching it. And I think Foundation, if I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Foundation is on Apple TV, and that's a priority for me. So I'm going to get to that. The film has a production budget, yeah, 4.5. And another production company that's really good with their money as far as getting a lot out of everything is Blumhouse. That's why I hope they do the Thing and they do it with practical effects to be kind of cool. William, I know you're proud of me watching Blade Runner. I am. What did you think about it, Kinky? I mean, did it do for you what I hoped it it was going to do for you when you mentioned you were going to see it? Like I said, I am always happy to hear somebody watching Blade Runner 2049. I hope it overwhelmed you as much as it did me. It's because Apple doesn't produce lots of TV shows. That's the reason why it looks so good. That too, and Apple has the budget to basically do whatever they want to. They can get whoever they want to. They can. There's no limit to what they can do. Apple and Amazon can really, throw the kitchen sink out of it. If they want something to look a certain way, they can make it happen, and there's no compromising. So you're watching it as we speak. Okay, cool. I guess The Dark Knight and Mamma Mia back in 2008 was the most recent comparable example. Yeah, but we also didn't have. I mean, obviously we had the internet back then, but social media is in a different place, and social media is what did this. The whole Barbenheimer thing. That's social media really propelled that. And in 2008, I think we were still dealing with MySpace. For those of you who don't remember what that is, but The Dark Knight, if I can remember correctly, the hype around The Dark Knight was, unfortunately, Heath Ledger dying, and then people got to see bits and pieces of his performance. And this is coming from somebody who laughed out loud when they cast Heath Ledger. I'm like, oh, Brokeback Joker, this is going to be hilarious. First night. And then when I heard his voice for the very first time, and I hadn't even seen his face yet. When I heard his voice in that trailer where Batman is riding around on a motorcycle and he's doing the voiceover from the interview, I just got chills. And when I saw him, I'm like, this is going to be an all-time great performance, potentially. And when I saw it in July of 2008, the first 15 minutes of Heath Ledger's performance, I felt that I was sitting in Al Pacino, one of those top 10 or 15 performances all time. That was just from the first 15 minutes of The Dark Knight. And for me, he drives that movie. He's the only thing about that movie I will rewatch over again. I think that Heath Ledger is why the Dark Knight trilogy is looked upon as fondly as it is. Because if you look at the first movie, it didn't make a lot of money. It's highly regarded. That second movie with Heath Ledger's performance and him passing, everything that could just fell in place made that franchise. Because the third movie I thought wasn't that good. The Dark Knight Rises is one of my least favorite comic book movies of all time. So yeah, and I didn't see Mamma Mia and in the theaters. I have the ABBA release. That's as close as I'm getting to that. William Oppenheimer has passed 400 million worldwide. That's great. That's great. And it's going to make even more of that, because even when it rolls out of the theaters again, when Oscar nominations come out, a lot of the times the Oscar-nominated movies get put back on the screen again because the buzz gets some more box office money. So theaters need to keep that original and new IP stream going. That's just not where the money is. You see, whenever we bring up the non-franchise films, and if you do the math, there's just not enough of them out there. And even though there are successes, they don't pull in the volume and the frequency revenue that these companies need to keep the machine going. So it's good that they're out there. Like, you have, one-off that are not. I mean, Everything Everywhere All at Once is not a franchise movie. It's great, but you look at where the money is coming from when it comes to these. If you do the math, the past 3 to 7 years, the money comes from the franchise because that's what the customer wants. If the customer sees something, they generally want more of it. Whether you were planning on doing a sequel or not, if the customer wants more of it, you're in business to make money. Todd Phillips had no plans on making Joker 2. The customer wanted more. The studios made the decision, but they made the decision based on the demand that they knew was there. So it's cool that we have these one-off movies. I mean, we need that as part of the game. But as far as sustainability, the franchise IPs are where the money is being made right now. I can see that. Jacob Kivy, are you a subscriber? What am I missing? Okay, cool. Shipson Comics. Barney, what's going on? I just need to say you're possibly awesome, brother. I really enjoy listening to you and just ran about everything. Barney's here in Vegas. He does comics. He does pop-up shows. If you guys get a chance to come to Vegas while he's doing one, Shimpson's Comics, he's really cool. I'm actually not ranting today, man. You know what? I'm gonna. There's a couple of things I'm gonna dial back on because ranting unless it's daylight savings. This time around I'm not gonna rant because we get the hour back. 1,000-degree heat. You know what? Maybe I will continue to rant on a little bit, but I'm kind of trying to dial it back on the ranting. And I'm going to dial it back on certain types of movie talk, simply because I think that the conversation is getting steered in directions that I want to go. But I will be talking in depth about a lot of different things, and that's what like I said, we talk anywhere from comic books to wrestling. I want to try to get Ty on there. Remind myself, I want to talk UFOs. I want to talk all kinds of stuff, but I want to talk about things that make me happy and bring me joy. All right. To be fair, not a lot of original IP is going to do well in theaters. Barbie's a well-known IP. Yeah, Barbie's the first-time use of this particular IP in this way, but it's still a franchise. It's just a franchise already existed in a way before the movie did, but it's a name brand. It's an IP. So I always thought it was good, even though I have, like I said, zero plans. I think so. Oh, you're asking fourth. I think it is, especially now that they got sports. But yeah, Barbie. I thought Barbie was going to do Shogun Orta. What's the point of the sexy and Oppenheimer? YouTube say it has a point, but nobody says. I can't spoil it for you. I want to tell you, Shogun Orta. You want to if you want me to spoil it for you, message me either on Facebook or through the Sci-Fi Center's page, or on email me at contact@thescificenter.com or on Twitter, look up the Sci-Fi Center. I will spoil a certain thing for you if I tell you why it has a point. There is a metaphorical. It has a metaphorical point, and it has a symbolic point, and it has an artistic point. And if I tell you why and when, I don't want to give away that part of the movie because there's still a lot of people who haven't seen it yet. But if you want to message me, I'll tell you why. But I don't, and people in the chat don't bring it up because I know there's a lot of you who haven't seen it yet. But there is a point to it, Shogun. William, did you see Terrence Crawford fight the first four belt? No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I wasn't. I wasn't paying attention. I don't watch a lot of combat sports other than wrestling. Yeah, the one that's scripted. Sorry. I don't know. I haven't dipped my toe yet. Apple TV. I think it's good. Yeah, they're very cinematic with their shows as well, from what I hear. Like I said, Foundation is on my list. William, do you think the Saw X trailer released? No, I didn't. I saw that poster, and like I told you guys last night, when I see stuff happening to your eyes, I tune out, man. I can't. I don't want to watch. No, the eyes and the genitals. Once you start doing things with those parts, you use a good chance that I might not see your movie. I'm sorry. And I can sit through a lot of gore and dismemberment, but when you start messing with the eyeballs and the genitals, I can't do it, man. I'm not that strong. I watched Bodies the other day. Pretty good. I heard about that one too. Boy, thought on Saw X is said to be John Kramer's most personal game with him as the main character, despite it taking place between Saw 1 and 2. Yeah, I figured out that's how they got him back. I'm like, I know how he dies, and I'm like, unless that's a dream, he ain't coming back. But I enjoyed the Saw movies up to a certain point. I even enjoyed what was it, Spiral? Chris Rock in it. I've enjoyed them. I mean, I'm worried that I think Saw 6 for me, 5 and 6 got a little bit too. It got to the point where it was becoming a gimmick. So hopefully they're returning back to what they are, because to me, Saw 3 and 4 were my favorite of the franchise. William thought of Andrew Garfield as Peter saving MJ in No Way Home. When I watched that, it was one of my favorite scenes in a comic book movie ever. It was so simplistic, but you understood that that was the moment that shaped that particular Spider-Man, and for him to be able to be there for her when he couldn't be there for Gwen. It's like I always say in the people make fun of the Martha scene in Batman versus Superman because I don't know why people can't connect with it. But when he hears the word Martha, he's like, "Why did you say that name?" It's because Batman became who he was because of what happened to him, and he didn't want that to happen to anyone else. He would absorb that pain and that darkness, for them. What began his dark journey, he couldn't do anything to save his Martha. He was a 9-year-old kid, and there was nothing he could do. He was helpless to stop that Martha. But he was damned if he was going to let that Martha die. And when he says Martha's not going to die tonight, that's that Batman being able to do something that he couldn't do before, that altered the course of his life. And at the moment he became an orphan that night. And now he's looking into Superman, about to lose his only parent. He's about to watch someone become an orphan, something that he became Batman and stop. So when Andrew Garfield saves her, it just, like I said, knowing what that character's death did to the trajectory of that character, it was a really cool moment. I remember it being one of the loudest pops in the theater when I saw it. So that's how I feel about that one. Jacob, he said by catching MJ, he got to make up a terrible tragedy that he tried to avoid in his world. He hadn't been in Peter's one's world when it was possible MJ may have made the same fate as Gwen. It's possible. Watch Rises again. I'm telling you, Rises is very good. It's my movie. I've watched it a few times, and I like it less and less. I thought the story is weak. I thought there are some excellent performers in that movie that no one just doesn't get. Marion Cotillard is Academy Award winner. She's wasted in that movie. She's absolutely wasted in that movie. And everybody else is too. And then Bale is Batman. I tolerate as far as he's a piece of the story being told. He's never been my Batman. He's never been convincing for me. Everybody's got their Batman. And I thought the villain, and Tom Hardy, once again, Tom Hardy's one of the best actors out there in this generation. I was more annoyed by him than I was entertained by his interpretation of Bane. So, and like I said, everybody's movies is an emotional investment that is different from one individual to the other. I know plenty of people who love Dark Knight Rises. I thought it was emblematic of the entire trilogy, which is, like I said, I think is overrated. Outside of that one movie that is carried by that one legendary performance, but that's just me. William thought Universal is still very invested in making live action Invisible movie. Yeah. They need to get Quentin Tarantino to direct that, by the way. Fourth, I saw Rise X's in theaters. So did I. I remember people were thinking the ending of Rise was Alfred's dream. Yeah, when he met up with Catwoman. The Bane versus Batman fistfight was the best of all 3 movies. I'll give you that, but the fistfights in the movies weren't that good, to be honest with you. I'm sorry. I just wasn't taken by the Dark Knight trilogy that a lot of people were. Let's see. No genitalia was harmed in this movie. Yeah, you tell me that now. Well, anything in your crosshairs to satisfy the all 3Ds? Well, I probably will see Saw. That will do it. That's coming up. Ugh. Well, Craven had all 3Ds in the damn trailer, but it looks like that's going to be delayed. Dune has battle scenes in it that has a lot of that in it. It looks like, I'm hoping, knock on wood, that doesn't get delayed. I really want to see Dune this year. Great, now watch it again. Nah, I'm all right, man. I'm good. William thought of Nicolas Cage just seeing his cameo in The Flash was satisfying. I was glad I didn't blink. For me, it was a feeling of being actualized. I'm glad he got his moment, but I'm also glad that that movie never got made. I know a lot of people want to see these type of things released just to see it, just out of a sense of curiosity. I think that it would have really been a joke, and I think that could have hurt his career. I think it looks awful. I think the costume looks awful. I think the hair looks awful. I think Nicolas Cage is a top tier, depending on given what time, what point of his career that you follow him on. City of Angels is my favorite movie that he did. I thought that Superman looked absolutely atrocious. And I think had it been released, I think it would have hurt his career. I think it would have, I would think it would have hurt. I think it would have done a lot of damage. You know, now if you want to release it as a joke, maybe because we have an established Superman, or I wouldn't release that movie until after James Gunn's movies come out, because you just don't want that kind of movie out there while you're trying to establish the Superman. That's just me. The choreography in the Nolan trilogy is pretty weak. I thought so. They had a lot of action, but it's a lot of basic rules, though, or basic moves. I'm not going to knock it on the level of Steven Seagal predictability, but there was not a lot you could do in that suit. Like I said, to me, and I know people, I can feel the heat coming at me from even now and people who are going to watch the stream. I know the comments are going to be in there. I'm putting on my cup right now. I know you guys are going to kick me in the nads over this, and I said this before. Matt Reeves accomplishes what Christopher Nolan attempts in the Dark Knight trilogy. Matt Reeves does it, and I see where Christopher Nolan is going. And this was one of those Nolan movies that were, you know where he's aiming, but I don't think he gets there in that trilogy. If you watch that, and that's why the Batman is my favorite overall Batman movie, because everything works. It's performance driven. It's atmosphere driven. That's the one thing that the Nolan movies that are missing that really that make it not work for me is the atmosphere. Batman, whether you read him or watch him, is not just the Batman. It's about the atmosphere that he exists in, along with the Rogues Gallery, along with everything else. But there's an atmosphere, there's a feel to it that I just didn't feel in any of the Nolan movies that I did feel in the Batman. That's just me, though. The views and opinions, that's reflected just in my opinion. But, William thought on Cillian Murphy on potentially playing Dr. Doom in MCU. It's always about the script. If somebody sends me a script, I'll read it. And he's going to be one. He could be one of these Adam Driver situations where if the script's not right, I think Cillian Murphy is on the level he could play anybody you throw at him. He became J. Oppenheimer in this movie in ways that are just creepy. The only other performance that I've seen that close and look and feel, if you watch Mindhunters, season 2, episode 5, and actually all of Mindhunters, if you watch, there's a Charles Manson, the guy who plays him in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and he plays him again in Mindhunters, and he is dead on. I felt like I was listening to Charles Manson and watching him. And there's also an Edmund Kemper guy that they got that looks and sounds like him in there. Oppenheimer, as played by Cillian Murphy, I felt that I was watching a documentary with Oppenheimer, the voice, the cadence, everything. So I think he could possibly be nominated for Best Actor. I damn sure think that Robert Downey Jr. must be. If you're not going to nominate RDJ for this one, then just stop nominating him then. He's the epitome of what a best supporting actor in a movie is. Fun, how you doing, man? I love Rise of the Beast. Saw it 3 times already. This is a good rewatchable movie, and the final battle is epic. Yeah, it's on Paramount Plus. Oh, by the way, guys, I'm going to be doing a giveaway, physical media giveaway for Rise of the Beast, either physical or digital. Paramount hasn't let me know yet, but yeah, go get it. Go get it. It's on physical media, and you can watch it on Paramount Plus.
I watched it on Paramount Plus the other day at the store on my movie screen. And just to break it down, the battle scene is good. I wish they would have done more with obviously the main antagonist, but I guess that's for a future thing. But the ending thing and the post credit thing was kind of cool. I mean, I remember people just getting completely explosive over that one. But the battle scene in Rise of the Beast is really good, and the way they move it and filmed it, and the way it's always rolling. It's like you're watching something on a rotating table. And it goes a lot of different directions. So I really did enjoy that battle scene. I agree. Fun. I've heard that a lot. Would you put it over to the Michael Bay movies? Yeah, I would, because the Michael Bay movies are just basic hit, punch, rip off a limb, impale somebody. There was a lot of movement in this one. Everything moves in the fight scenes in this one. I can agree with you on Matt Reeves. I just felt Reeves' fights are too much in wide shots. He never gets the camera in there. I can go along with that. I don't know if it's something that that hurts it for me. But once again, and see, in my opinion, him doing the wide shots, it's like a symbolic thing that tells me it's not just about the guy administering the fights. It's about everything. He wants you to look like he wants you to look like you're looking at a panel in a Frank Miller Batman comic. That's how I got it. That's how I took it, at least. All right, Daniel Martin is right there with Bay's first movie and definitely beats the others. All right. Well, on Spider-Man Beyond, Spider-Man Up, yeah. Like I said before, I was kind of skeptical that they were going to get all this done by March 29th, 2024. So at least, that covers them there. They were going to run into delays no matter what. I just hope it's not too long. All right, you guys are talking to each other. Even though the Batman didn't do it for me, I'm definitely willing to give the sequel a chance. Like I said, everybody's going to be different. I just felt that the Batman is the most complete solo Batman movie out there. It is the most complete, and I think it's the most close. It's the closest to the spirit of what Bob Kane and Binger met when they designed the character, and it's as close to that level of Batman, not the Dark Knight Batman, the much older Batman, because Zack Snyder covered that perfectly. But the year 1, the year 2 Batman, it's as close as accurate comparison that I've seen since they started making Batman movies. Strange Marvel Theories. I love your name. Good morning. Clint, one thing that annoys me about today's CGI is they're always doing it at nighttime. I wonder why that is. I don't know whether that makes it easier or if that makes it cheaper, but that's a good point. William thought Bad Boys was released in when was it originally dated? That they moved that a year, right? See, a lot of these movies they're spending a good amount of money on Bad Boys 4, and a lot of these movies they just don't want to put them out there without promotion. To me, the fact that they're pushing those out that far tells me that the producers in the studios are willing to go a year or more with the strike, because those movies, like I said, some of these movies are in the can and being pushed way out there because they don't want to not have the talk show circuit and the press junkets, because that really helps a movie. But the fact that they're pushing them out to 24 and then way into 24, that's a year away. So that tells me they're digging trenches. And I hope this is not true, but like we were talking about the other day, it could be 6 to 9 months. And I think that's going to result in a very changed industry. And I have strange theories. Well, hey, aptly named then. William thought on Seth Rogen calls Oppenheimer the ideal edible scenario. Okay, as a person, I am straight edge. I don't do edibles. I don't smoke. And I'm not knocking you guys out there that do, but I don't drink liquor. I've never even tasted liquor or smoked a cigarette. So when it comes to edibles, if that's what we're referring to, I have to leave that up to Seth Rogen or any of you guys who watch movies after you've done edibles. I'll have to leave that interpretation up to you. I'm the wrong guy to ask on that one. So. All right. Ooh, wow, it's been going for 47 minutes. All right, let's look and see if there's anything in my messages. A lot of times I get messages about the show while I'm doing the show. So, let's Filter, Rolling Stone magazine. All right. Let's see. I'm just looking through all the platforms to see if I'm missing questions or anything like that. So, William thought, Seth Rogen has not worked Marvel DC film yet due to fear of the process. I say that knowing nothing about the process. There are a lot of things I love. Even if you don't know the process of making Marvel movies, you see it. We as fans can see it. Kevin Feige and Disney they have a way of doing things, and it's not for everyone. I mean, some people it's for, some people it's not for. Especially some people who have made movies, been making movies for a long time. They don't, necessarily need the Marvel machine. And then there are some people who've been making movies for a long time, like Sam Raimi, who decided, they wanted to do some movies, for Marvel. So it's all a matter of what you want to put yourself through as a director and how much control and narrative do you want to cede in order, because you have to give up some of that to make a Marvel movie. I have seen the Batman from the 40s, I believe, and Batman was always silly. Why did it happen? If Batman's supposed to be a serious character, Batman was always supposed to be a serious character. He was always supposed to be a serious character. During the 40s, what ended up happening during the 40s is there was a backlash, because if you look at the first couple of years of Detective Comics and the Batman comic that came out in 1940. Batman was a particularly violent comic, even for that era with gangsters getting shot in open warfare out in the streets. Batman had 2 guns and he shot at people. He kneecapped people. He wounded people. He viciously beat people up. There are scenes in some of the earlier Batman or panels where he's torturing people, interrogating people. Batman was never meant to be silly. He was never, ever, ever, ever meant to be silly. What ended up happening is comics in the 40s, comic sales plummeted in the 40s after the war, and they wanted to widen Batman's scope to more readers he would appeal to family stuff. And that's not what the character was created for, not what he was intended for, but the publishers thought that by doing that, they would get more people involved in reading Batman and reading comics. And, it worked, but at the, to the detriment of the core of the character. And then that just can't, and then the movies came out afterwards. And then you had the Batman 66 that came out. And the more and more appeal that they gained, the lesser of what the character was designed to be remained. And it stayed that way until, like Neil Adams to take over, and the mid 70s and the early 80s, and then when Frank Miller came along. But yeah, they did that because they wanted to make Batman a character that was not designed for kids of the future eras. They wanted to soften them up, and that's not what Bob Kane was doing. That's not he created the Batman as a reflection of what was going on in the streets in the 30s and 40s. And if you lived in a major city in those day and era, especially if the mob was running that town, if you were living in Chicago, during the Capone era or during those eras, you saw the violence, and they didn't run away. The newspapers would print that stuff. You'd see dead bodies on the front page. You'd be walking from the liquor store, and when the mob wars are going on, there would be dead bodies. You'd be walking past those. So the kids of that era, that's what Batman was to reflect. But as time went on, and like I said, sales plummeted, they wanted to appeal to a different era of kid. They wanted to calm the nerves of the parents of that era, because once your parents picked up and looked at Batman taking a guy's kneecap out with a revolver, maybe not what you want your kid looking, even though that was a pure form of Batman. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I have a lot of disdain for 90s animation Batman, because once again, we're going back to making Batman for kids. And I will take this to my grave, no matter how long it takes me to get there. Batman is not meant for kids, especially kids of the era that has emerged in the last 30 years. If you're going to be true to what Batman is, then Batman wasn't made for kids. It just, especially as we've softened up kids of the 40s and the 50s, different sensibilities than the kids that came out from that were born maybe in 1974 coming up. Different generations, different appeals, but whenever I see people trying to make Batman for kids, it makes me want to vomit in my mouth. The character's design just wasn't meant to be that. So, long story short, there you go. WB has delayed these movies so much. I've heard Aquaman may get delayed. Yeah, I think Aquaman's being put in an unwinnable situation. William thought on Killing Murphy is a huge fan of Succession. It's a lot of people are one of the better shows on HBO. It's magnificent, some of the best writing out there, and the performances are just mind-bogglingly good, especially Brian Cox. William, do you think they'll spend the money they need for Superman Legacy, or will they try to go cheap under the sky? I don't know. I'll tell you what I think they should do. They should go all out. They're not going to get another chance to make a first impression. And given the shaky ground that these IPs have been on for 10 years, they need to go all out. They need to go all out. You can cut costs somewhere else, but it better not be the very first movie of a movie that's going to struggle to gain a foothold to begin with. You do not want to give anybody any reason to call your product cheap, and you get what you pay for when it comes to these comic book movies in most cases. Wasn't there a committee that censored comics decades ago? Yes, and prevented them from showing like Zombies Blood. Yeah, Zombies Blood, certain types of gunfire. Yeah, and that's when you got the comics code and all that nonsense. There's been documentaries and books written on that, but then you have the whole seduction of the innocent thing. Because back in those eras, in the early 50s, you had some very racy comic books, and comic books, they were developing them for kids, but young adults mainly. But your parents of that era were like, well, comic books for kids. This stuff can't be in a comic book. And it was the parents who drove the congressmen and made these committees. And then, you had people who started self-policing themselves. DC turned Batman into a goofball for a while. And, so that's what happened. Yeah, but it was a mess. Bill Finger co-created Batman and the Joker. Doesn't get a lot of credit for it. And a lot of people don't credit him with the creation of Batman. This geek will. I consider Bill Finger to be one of the hold on. I'm getting a text. I consider okay. I'll get to that later. Wow, he died 9 months before I was born. Yeah, he's a co-creator. Steam Wikipedia brings him up, but a lot of people gave a lot of the credit solely to Bill, to Bob Kane, and Bob Kane was a co-creator. So, all right, hold on for a second. I'm going to answer a question real quick. Stand by. Somebody needs a code word. Let me get this. All right, so yeah, that was him, and the Joker. Oops, I was born in '73. Oh wow, so you're older than me. Woo! I'm not the geezer. BVS was the first DC movie to credit Bill. Woo, is that true? That's wow. Oh, so you're a man. You'll be 50 this year. Let me know how it is. Weed does not help Oppenheimer at all, by the way. You get confused. You will get confused. Okay, there you go. Clint does it. He can tell you. And I'll be right there to label a movie as looking cheap in regards to and everybody will. And it's Superman. You can do Batman on the cheap, but I don't think you can. I don't think with the type of the expectations that that Superman is going to have, and the effects and stuff that are going to be effects heavy are going to have. So it's gonna be tough. I see you have to spend somewhere near 200 million on it. Go to next. Click. Hold on for a second, guys. Click on your provider. AT&T user ID is 135. Password is okay, so yeah, I don't think you can go cheap when it comes to Superman. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Mujin Jin. Jensen Ackles as Batman is the best casting since Affleck as Batman. Has he accepted the role yet? And see, it's so far away with Batman. Even if he's like rumored about it, I don't know how much can change because if Superman Legacy is 2.5 to maybe 3 years away, Batman's even further down the line, unless they crunch the schedules and can get them released in the same year. But who knows? Jensen Ackles will do fine though. We'll never hear the end of it looking like you cannot do it. You gotta go in. You gotta go all in. So hold on. Let's see. Set up profile. There is a profile already set up for George. So yeah, you can't go cheap. In fact, if you got to overspend to get it right, do it. Go cheap on the authority side, or go cheap on the B and the C tier characters that you got coming out. But these first impressions, I don't even know if you can go cheap with Green Lantern. I mean, that's have effects heavy. People are going to be looking for ways to punch holes into this. So you may not be able to go cheap during the first phase of Gods and Monsters. You may have to empty the wallet. And if you're not going to, then don't do it. If you're going to do pick and save Superman, pick and save Batman, and pick and save Green Lantern, and so on, then just don't do it. All you got to do is hurt the band, hurt the brand. So if Gunn cast Ackles, I would be on the hype train. Think about he voiced Batman. Gunn wants someone who can be an animation live action. It all depends on how I think this I don't know how old this Batman's supposed to be. I know he's supposed to have a kid. Okay, hold on. How old is Jensen Ackles? He's 40. Jensen Ackles is. I don't think he's quite 40 yet. He's 45. So by the time that this movie is released, he would be 47, 48. And if that's the age that he's going for, then yeah, it'll work. I'm not sure about Ackles. He comes off as too blue collar. Batfleck rode the line on that one, but maybe. You know what? When it comes to actors, I mean, they just, it's the fact that they can become whatever they need to. He might, might surprise you. All right, Strange. Speaking of comic creators, how about Alan Moore? He's an asshole. One of the most brilliant creators ever. One of the most brilliant comic book authors ever. You cannot assail his work, but man, he's a very difficult individual, and he does not work well with others. So, Fourth, talking about cheap movies. Yeah, he uses an avatar. I wish Fourth would. I really hate. Tusk looks high budget for a Kevin movie. I hate his avatar. It just is the most disturbing avatar for me. So yeah, whatever. Yeah. Emo Twilight. You know what? Pattinson did a good job for me. So there's been tons of films dealing with human trafficking. Why is all of a sudden it's trendy to tag a film and like Sound of Freedom? Did people forget to do that? Because of the political environment we're in, and the political views of a lot of the people who are in the movie made the movie, and a lot of the political views of the people who attached to the movie. we did not have this political environment in 2006 or 2007. Have you watched Secret Invasion, and what did you think about Emilia Clarke being sort of a one-off character because Secret Invasion is finished? I think you're going to see her again. I liked the first 5 episodes. The last episode was fucking horrible. So there you go. By cheap for me, generically shot on digital without any unique grade to give the movie its unique tone. Like every Marvel film, I remember when Nolan's cinematographer called Avengers ugly. Well, in Batman took in Damian when he was 43 years old. Jensen Ackles is, was he that old? Jensen Ackles is 45. Like I said, I'd have to see a script. But you know what? You put a guy in a makeup chair, you can make him into anything you want. So it's just there's so much time, Eugene, between now and I actually put him under the cowl that I just don't know what kind of answer to give people yet. I think Jensen Ackles is a fine actor. I think he could pull it off, but a lot of it's going to depend on where James Gunn wants to go. Exactly how old, how accurate. So, but as of now, I mean, he'd be a good pick. For some clarification, Zach and Deborah said during the Netflix to them event that they were planning to see The Flash the following weekend, so they probably have by now. Yeah, and they were busy, so I mean, I think sometimes people they take because we're in such an intense environment when it comes to these comic book movies that sometimes they take things as a slight, and there's not a slight there. Speaking of cheap movies, August 4th, The Meg. We may have to. They got a promotional event here in Vegas, but it's going to be at the some hotel at a pool on top of the roof, and it's not VIP. It's a general. We got general admission passes for it. I don't know if you want to go. I'll give you the offline about that. I may just want to go see that at Galaxy. But I do want to see the Meg too because it's going to be hilariously silly. I can agree. Ackles over Patterson. My Batman ain't throwing his bat toys in his cave, listening to Foo Fighters. You know what? I had no problem with any of that. I like the Foo Fighter. So, and I like to use the music, in there. So I had no issues with Robert Pattinson. I would take Josh Hartnett as well as too. And like I said, I gotta withhold my judgment and my thoughts on this. Or as far as like narrowing down, who would be the best for this role until I hear more from James Gunn. Then I can be like, okay, that fits what you're doing. All right, scrap the Reeves universe. Fire Andy Muschietti. Ooh, no. Get Gareth Edwards and General. Nah, I like Andy Muschietti, and I think under organized circumstances, Andy Muschietti does good work. I like the Reeves universe. At least that works movie. I don't like the fact that it's going to be forever before I get another one, but that's movie making for you, eh? Yeah. Now, what I do hope for Matt Reeves movies that they don't jam too many characters in, because that's the one thing that I didn't think that for me, once I saw Heath Ledger's Joker, I personally did not need Two-Face in that movie. I thought a lot of his stuff was crammed in there, but that's a personal preference. All right. It's going to probably be a while before we see Armie Hammer anywhere. But if Kevin Spacey can jump back into movies, which he eventually probably will, you never say never. Yeah. All right. I truly thought Emilia being a huge star would be revealed as Mystique or Rogue, and that Gaia was mimicking Mystique's human disguise. As I saw, Gaia had Rogue power and weakened gravity. I thought that bite scene was just so bad I couldn't focus. But that's a good theory. That's a good theory. Mugen Jin Affleck was cast as Batman when he was 43 years old, so age is not a problem. Okay, it's how you take care of your body. Not okay. So Mugen, he was cast as a Frank Miller's Dark Knight type of Batman, and that Batman is 50. So for the type of Batman, that's what I mean. I have to hear more from Ben Affleck. from James Gunn to understand what kind of Batman he's looking for in order for me to determine whether the name's being brought up. I'm not saying any of them are bad because of age. I'm just curious to where he falls into because certain actors can play certain characters at certain ages. But Ben Affleck was cast as pretty much the prototypical Frank Miller Dark Knight Batman, and if you read that, he's 50 in there. So Ben Affleck's actually younger, but he plays a 50-year-old pretty well. Okay, next. All right. Oh dear God! Now, yeah, I don't have a problem with Yeti, but you know, what's going on, Jeeves? Originally, John Hart was a Warner Brothers choice for Superman 2002 and Kristen Bell for Batman, and wow, he's missed out a lot. Then Hammer seems rich, posh because he is tall. He has a build in and out of shape where he can eat his villains. That's like Bell is great. The stupid voice ruined it. Yeah, that's another thing. That voice that I like the voice changer thing that they would use after that. Hold on. I'm walking somebody through something. All right. Let's see. I think that's it, guys. Hour and 9 minutes. Any last minute questions? This is open mic, so this is all for you guys. If not, I'm gonna eat my food. Take some Benadryl because man, ever since I got back from San Diego, my sinuses have been telling me, "Why did you bring us back here? Now we have to punish you." My sinuses did not want to leave San Diego. Man, those are the best 4 days, sinus allergy wise, that I've had in years. But as soon as I stepped off the plane back into hell, my sinuses and the rest of my body was like, we don't have to do this. We can go back on the plane. We can find a way to get back to San Diego. That's what every core of my body was telling me. But, oh well. All right. Let's see. I think. I haven't seen it. I'm just glad the guy's alive. He was having some health issues the last couple of months, and I heard he was close to death. Now that he's well, I'm hearing he was closer to danger than people were revealing. So I'm glad he's doing a next movie. Affleck's voice modulator was cool, but if Robin has one too, it sounded that would be hilarious if it sounded like a little kid. Batman. Bell's voice was great in Batman Begins. It wasn't until Dark Knight that Nolan used the post-production to alter Batman. Ugh. I can relate. Here in Maine, it's allergy central. Yeah. In Vegas, it's a desert. It's a valley. It's just for some reason, and I just realized how badly I just absorbed the suffering of my allergies because I can't take hold on for a second. I can't take I can't, take a lot of the allergy medications and stuff because I machines and stuff and everything that I'm on, but when I go on vacation and like when I'm in places, when I don't have to show up to places a lot, then I can take some of the stuff that's prescribed. But until then, yeah, I got to suffer. All right, William Grant Morrison Batman is in his 40s. James Gunn is using Morrison run for the Brave of the Bold. Yeah, he's in his early 40s, so that works for me. That works for me. It's just like I said. Once we get this movie, we're talking about somebody that's going to be in his late 40s. He'll be closing in on 50s by the time we get this movie out. So it depends on when the process starts too. But once again, Jensen Ackles could probably play a 40-year-old. That's fine with me. I have no problem with Jensen Ackles. I'm just curious to see to see where he's going with it before I can say anymore. Yeah, that would be bad. Vegas is bad because they imported all the cheese to a valley. Yeah. Yep. Replace them all with cactus, damn it. Maybe that's a sign California call. Yeah, California is calling me. That is my home. California will always call to me no matter how long I'm here in Vegas.
Southern California is home to me. The greater LA area is my home. So I will eventually make it back there. All right, that voice modulator Batman had was in response to fans complaining about Kristen Bell. Both were bad. Both were bad. Batman, the animated series, the GOAT. Bell's Batman Begins, the best live action Batman ever. Yeah, you're just messing with me. If you know what, if I'll do yours opinion, you're more than welcome to it. I would rather drink out of the toilet than put Batman the animated series on any high regard because I think it had an outsized effect on Batman of that era, and it's for kids. And Batman is not for kids. That's like giving me a slasher, giving me Friday the 13th and making it G-rated. It's just you just can't do it effectively without hurting the product. You will invite other people into it, and you may widen your scope, but eventually you have to come home. And Batman's not for kids. The Fox X-Men films are garbage. They were. Oh no, Fox X-Men films. Not all of them were garbage. I thought you were talking about the cartoon. No, not all of them were garbage. There were some really bad ones there, but Days of Future Past is still one of my favorite comic book movies, and the original X-Men movie is groundbreaking. I like First Class. Never been a fan of Deadpool as a character. Logan is one of the great all-time comic book movies. But it's gotten crazy. Hold on for a second. Okay, cool. I'm walking somebody through a computer issue. All right. Okay. I'm not. Deadpool as a character, I just never connected with Deadpool in the comic books. I have his first appearance, signed by Rob Liefeld, by the way, and Fabian Nicieza. But I just never really connected with the character. But those other movies, not all of them are bad. Wow. A toilet emoji. Thank you. By the way, my opinions are my own. If you guys like these animated series and stuff like that, more power to you. I don't think any lesser of you for liking them. I'm just giving you my opinion, and if I give you that opinion, I think I need to give you the history behind that opinion so that you are at least, even if you don't agree with me, you're informed of my point of view of why I don't like something in particular. That's like putting Jared Leto in the role of Joker too soon. I think Jared Leto was a great Joker for what they were doing and the story they were trying to tell. And if we'd have got to see the ending of that story, I think it would have all panned out. Technically, Howard the Duck is a superhero movie, but it's a comic book movie, so no. Worst superhero. Okay, so Aaron, worst superhero movie I watched that was supposed to be good that had a big budget. Or worse, were just trash that was just bad because production value was low or all that. If it's the former, if it's a movie that had a big budget and had a big expectation and had everything it needed to do to be a good movie and still sucked, every Thor movie. Every Thor movie. I put of all the when it comes to MCU movies, my floor are the Thor movies, and then I climb from there. But if it's like low budget stuff, like the Roger Corman's Fantastic Four that I never saw. I hear it's awful, but that I would have to say the Thor movies are in that category for me. Rogue was not Rogue. Cyclops was a wimp run by Wolverine. No Gambit. Everyone was sidelined and underpowered. Storm was a queen, and black leather suits were dull and boring. But you also have to understand that was a breakthrough movie. It was not going to be the X-Men that we were going to recognize right out of the chute. They were bridging the gap between us geeks and the general audience, and it worked. I understand your points, Mugen, but for what they were doing and the tasks that they had, what they did worked. It may not have worked for people like us, but it worked to make the movie money. I would take Deathstroke over Deadpool, 7 days a week, twice on Sundays. I know you are. I'm skeptical with the MCU X-Men. At least they're going to have 90s comic book accurate suits. And Gambit, Maybe he could go back to the 80s. That suit that you saw him in, that one freeze frame from Deadpool, that brown and dark brown, brown and orange suit, that's from the 80s. Margot Robbie should go out as Harley Quinn with a proper Mad Love movie. Unfortunately, if I just watch your movies, you don't learn a character story properly. True. Green Lantern is bad, but it's not as bad as some of the other movies goes. I mean, like I said, it's not Howard the Duck bad. And I personally, you guys can disagree on this if you want to, I don't think Green Lantern is Thor bad. X-Men under Disney will be garbage. Sorry, not sorry. They will be straight up parodies of themselves. At least we'll have the original Fox films. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one. I mean, maybe they'll bring us back to what the MCU was, before it got watered down. All right. Very strange. Yeah, actually, Jared portrayed an okay iteration Joker. As I tell people, Joker is the madness of God incarnate, and that's why there are several iterations. And yeah, and each storyteller is going to have their own Joker that fits the story that they're telling, and that fits the Batman that they have on their screen. Bale's Batman and his Heath Ledger's Joker, that fit what they were doing. That was designed to be the contrast. And Zack Snyder's one was designed to exist in that world with that particular Batman. And then you have things like the Joker that are just they exist in their own universe. So you always have different interpretations of him. But I like Jared Leto's interpretation. It was different, and a lot of people couldn't take that drastically different, interpretation. But I liked it. I don't care about suits. The characters will be lame under the mouse. Wow. Fox is garbage. How can you like those? That just assumes they were not comic accurate and treated the characters you don't want to see the real Cyclops and Gambit. Okay, but like I said, once again, the mission was not to be the comic book accurate. The mission was to use the inspiration of those characters as much as possible while still making them transcendent to people who never picked up comic books before. Okay, you're fine with the wimpy Cyclops being bullied by Wolverine. Uh-oh, you guys, comic accurate gets thrown around way too much with Endgame and Benny, but yeah, none of those guys. And, and by the time we got to some of these latter movies, comic book movies had broken through in such a way that we could do the ridiculous, because some of these costumes are ridiculous when you try to put them on, more than two dimensions. If you look at Wolverine's costume now, that's the one that they're that they're giving you. They had one I saw with the old brown outfit and the one with the yellow and blue outfit. You would not have been able to pull those off in the early 2000s. You just weren't. The general public wasn't going to buy that yet. But now comic book movies have been around and have had that type of credibility to where now they control a lot of that, and you can get what you want them to look like. Yeah, it's impossible. All right. So, all right, I guess I'm going to leave it at that. Hour and 20 minutes, a little bit longer than I wanted to go, but we had some good topics, had some good questions. Good night, everybody. I'm going to go eat my food. Thank you guys for joining me on the semi-overnighter, this open mic. Thank you for some of the new guys, Strange Marvel Theories and Mugen Jin, and anybody else who was their first time here tonight. Thank you for joining us. I hope this is not the last time we see you, and I hope you join us for all of our shows. Please like and subscribe both this channel both channels that I'm on right now, simulcasting, Witch Point Extra Lounge, and then you see my name right under there, youtube.com at the Sci-Fi Center. I put the donation link if you ever want to donate to the show. We put it all back into the show as far as getting microphones, sending ear headsets to people so they don't echo, all kinds of stuff like that. Don't do this for a living. It's just something I do for fun. So if you feel the urge, there you go. It's pinned to the top of my channel. But there you go. Thank you. Thank you guys. Have a good rest of your weekend, which is about 10 minutes left of it. And have a good beginning of your week wherever you are. Hopefully you're not in one of these places that's 1,000 degrees like I am. All right, guys. Have a nice evening or morning or evening, whatever.